You're watching The Noon Show with Tamara Vaifanua, Brooke Walker, and Matt Johnson.
Well, every parent wants to raise a child who lives a life that matters, grounded in character, grounded in confidence, and, just ready to contribute in meaningful ways. That kind of legacy, it doesn't happen by accident. It is actually shaped in those everyday moments, those intentional choices, and the values that we model at home.
I love the word legacy. I actually love this topic, and it starts with this question, which I love as well. How do we raise kids who don't just grow up, but grow up to be people who really make a difference? KSL parenting contributor Heather Johnson joins us. Always great to see you, sister. I don't know what precipitated this topic or conversation for you, but I did find myself thinking as we inch closer to like graduation and a time when families are transitioning, I think a lot of parents are kind of reflecting on that growth in their child and have I nurtured it along as far as I wanted to?
Yeah, absolutely. Has there been enough? Have I done enough, right? And we do want to be careful because it's really easy to beat ourselves up. Excuse me, as parents, when we see some of those milestones, but we want to take a step back and ask ourselves if we're doing things every day to create a family legacy, or I like actually looking at it as a legacy family instead of a family legacy.
How do you define that, Heather?
And looking at it and saying, are we doing things every day so that we are a family that's taking our traditions and our values and our rituals and also our memories and teaching them on the ground every day so that they're carried from generation to generation. I think we think of a legacy family and immediately think of money, right? That there's wealth that's passed on. This is so much bigger, in fact, more important than wealth. In fact, I want you to take wealth all the way out of it.
I just got the feel-good chills, like a legacy family.
Absolutely.
And the memories I'm making, the rituals that I'm trying to practice,
the values, right.
Are they going to do something with that?
And are they going to pass it and love it and care about it and essentially have a testimony of it strong enough that they're going to teach it to their kids? And are they going to teach it in a way that then their children have a testimony of it to pass it along again and again and again? That's what we're trying to create here, right? And it has to be taught, meaning it's not just that this family magically shows up. We have to put in energy to create it. We do.
And that kind of goes along with the question I'm about to ask, because we probably in our own families, we see those kids that they just seem to get it. They're very wise in their young years. They have that emotional maturity. But is that teachable?
It is. It's teachable. And yes, I mean, we can look at our kids and go, well, this one, it comes a little bit easier than this one, and this one, something else comes easier. But we still have to teach it. Put the word intentional underneath this. To be a legacy family, we have to be intentional, which means we have to have a working plan to teach and accomplish these things. We do.
You've intentionally put to paper 4 things we can model and teach, to Tamara's point, to our kids. First, we have to create connection.
We do. This is, again, the rituals. This is the dinners, the date nights, the time we're spending together to create connection. When we spend time together, it creates a foundation that becomes so strong, we can tackle anything, or it can support whatever the challenges are that show up in our families. That's why connection matters so much. Connection is about spending time. It's where we get to know one another. We've got to get to know each other to be a legacy family. Now, the crazy and maybe even challenging thing is, no matter where your family is right now, you probably need at least 10 more hours a week together to create the connection that we're saying we want to be that type of family.
Hold on, time out. No matter where your family is on the map, look at the clock, look at the schedule. Where can you find 10 more hours of connection?
A week.
A week.
10 more hours a week. To say we want to be a legacy family and then not spend substantial time together every day and every week, we can't be that type of family if we're not spending time together.
I love that challenge, Heather. I love it.
Find 10 more hours. And we hear it, right? And it's like, I can't even take a shower or get 5 hours of sleep. No, if you want your family to have that connection, we've got to find it, which means other things need to go. But we have to form that connection.
Definitely got to nurture it. Living aligned with the legacy takes courage. So we're talking moral courage, social courage, and those are really big things when you take a step back and look at it. How do we teach courage on the daily, like everyday moments?
Yeah, that's getting in, again, to not just spending the time together, but teaching our kids when they're faced with challenges, how to handle hard things, how to be willing to tackle something instead of run from it. It's actually teaching them to be able to communicate with people and talk with people and go into the new spaces that might be uncomfortable. This is raising kids who are anti-fragile. What this means is a child who's courageous and isn't fragile, being anti-fragile means that you can thrive and grow when faced with challenges. This means that as parents, we can't helicopter. It means that we can't be lawnmower parents. It means that instead, when the challenges show up, we don't say, how do we avoid them? We say, let me teach you, again, teach them how to tackle it. That's what it means to have courage and be anti-fragile.
About 1 minute left. You've said the word values a couple times, and it seems as we're looking at the goal to create family legacy, values would be foundational.
They are foundational.
Yeah.
We have to decide what they are for our family. So this is where we want to take a step back, and we want to come up with 4 or 5 values that we subscribe to as a family above all other things. And then we are going to live them. We are going to teach them. We're going to preach them. We're going to experience them. We're going to, I don't want a pound into, because we don't necessarily, I don't want you to hear it that way, except that's what we've got to do. If we say that connection, or if we say that honesty, or if we say that being trustworthy or patience matter, then we've got to fill our every single day with those values and those principles. We want to teach them all the time.
And to come back to what Brooke had said earlier about, you know, this is kind of the time right now where parents are thinking about transitions and like, have we done enough with our kids? Beyond age 18, is there anything more that we can do with this legacy to ensure that it carries on once they leave the home?
Absolutely, and regardless of the age, whether they're young or they're graduating and moving on, we want to make sure that we've taught them to be capable. We forget this part, right? We want to teach them everything from, can you do your own laundry, and could you cook food for yourself, to, do you have life skills? Do you have business skills? Do you now have AI skills? Do you know how to adequately use technology? We're looking to teach them all of that so that we send them out into the world at 18 or when they're at home in 7, that they're very capable. Those things matter, the connection, the courage, the core values, and the capacity. That's what we want to be doing every day at home so that we are creating this legacy family.
I love that you've made this actionable, and I love that you've emphasized the priority this should be, Heather. Thank you.
Spring is usually prime time for selling a home, but in today's unpredictable market, you can't just list and hope for the best. Our next guest says small strategic moves can make a big impact. Lene Prince is the owner of Renew Home Staging and Design, and she has 5 micro strategies for staging a home to stand out and sell. I love that. Micro strategy. Doesn't have to be anything grand, right?
Yeah, no, little things can make a big difference for sure.
And in this climate where it's just kind of constantly shifting as far as the market, sellers, they need as much help as they can get. How much difference would you say can good staging really make in selling their home?
Oh, it can make a huge difference. We've got stats to prove it. Like, you know, we know that staged homes sell for more and they sell faster, but it's kind of fun. We see it all the time in the market, and we have a house that just a couple weeks ago we staged, and it had been listed at the end of last year. They'd had it on the market for several months. They had to lower the list price by $50,000, and they still weren't getting looks at it. They took it off the market, did some things that we recommended, like just a little paint, carpet, switched out a few of the lights, and then we went in and staged it. And within a week, they had 3 competing offers. It sold for over list price. So, you know, we know it's real just because
You've
of
got a
experience that we have.
plan, and it sounds like you laid out a couple of them, but let's walk through them. Decluttering, that's huge.
Decluttering is huge. I always tell people, you know, in fact, sometimes when I'm with a homeowner, I will actually take a picture and show them, this is the space that we're looking at, and they will notice. I'm like, what do you notice in this picture? And when there's a lot of little things and a lot of, you know, small things, that people's eyes definitely go to that. And so we want to make sure that we're directing the attention where we want it to be with a staged home.
Yeah, and then you also have some sellers, they might want to keep some of their personal items in there as far as like pictures, mementos, but you're saying that could actually turn a seller off. Why is that?
It absolutely can. Like, we want to do everything that we can to have the potential buyer be able to imagine themselves in the home. You're definitely taking it from being my home to the next person's home, right? So as much as we can do to depersonalize and just really make it a blank slate, very generic. Like, think of a model home. Whenever you know, a builder is selling a model home, it's not personalized, right? It's there, very generic for anyone to be able to imagine themselves in that space.
And you say those little things count too. What are some quick, inexpensive things that people can do that can really just give it that spark?
Yeah, definitely. Little things make a big difference. Even lighting, like you said, decluttering is huge. You know, making sure all your light bulbs are the same color. Making sure that a space is clean and inviting, and when you walk into it, you're able to, you know, walk around it and really enjoy it, and it's feeling welcoming. We're actually trying to solicit an emotional response from a potential buyer. So just making sure that it's something that somebody's going to enjoy.
Yeah, and then also seeing it on, you know, like on photos where you talked about the furniture and the placement, and then just how it's presented in photo.
Right. Yeah. I mean, every listing starts with being out there for photos. You know, people can look at the photos online. And so you definitely, that's your first invitation for people to be interested in your home. You want to make sure that those photos not only look beautiful, but they look welcoming and inviting, and you got to get people in the house if they're going to buy it, right?
That's the draw right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so for someone that's sitting at home right now and they're loving your ideas, maybe they're wanting to try it, but they might feel a little overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So we talk about MicroStrategy. What was something that you would suggest would be like the #1 thing that they can do today that's pretty simple, doesn't require a whole lot?
Wow.
We talked about some good ones, but I guess one to like really get people like, to, you know, getting amped and ready to go.
I mean, if you're selling your house, I definitely think that reaching out to a professional is not a bad thing, even if it's just a consultation. Like maybe you're thinking staging isn't necessarily necessary, but you know, you have a real estate agent that you're most likely soliciting the help of, and they can definitely look at your space with a fresh set of eyes and let you know, these are the few little things that I think can make a really big difference.
All right, where can we find you to get some more information and for that consultation?
Oh, we're here local in Utah. You can see us on Instagram. It's just renew.home_. And then if you want to look at our website, we actually have some tips and some before and afters on there, so that's also helpful. And that is just renewhomeutah.com.
All right, so great meeting you. Thanks so much for all those ideas.
Of course, thank you.